Hello guys, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, and today in this particular lecture we're going to look about the four pillars of object-oriented programming. In the previous lecture we look how class is made, what are the data members and functions of the classes, what are access modifiers, and with the help of this particular diagram we'll learn better about the classes and its attributes and behavior. But we're going to see the four pillars of object-oriented programming that are encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. So first we start with the encapsulation. So encapsulation is the basic idea behind the class. So as we know that class is a user-defined data structures and the data members and functions are defined within this class, right? They are the members and functions of this class. And if you want, no one from the outside can change or modify these variables. Those are declared to be private as a access modifier. So here we bundle up all the information inside the class so that uh, in future if we declare an object we can have all the attributes and behavior of this class. So it's kind of bundling up of all the information and reusing it for the further use. So the basic class idea is the encapsulation only, and the main advantage is it prevents accidental modification of data and unwanted changes, right? So that's all about encapsulation. We have already seen how to define a class and all. Next, we will moving further to the abstraction part. So to give a insight about abstraction, I will take two examples. One, I will be taking a scenario where you need to write an exam, MCQ kind of exam, right? So in in first you are given the questions and the predefined answers are stored in the system, but they are not shown you in the initial phase. But once you complete your exam, the answers are shown and also marks are evaluated according to the answer you have given with the predefined answers. So as you can see here, the answers part is first hidden from you, but once you have done some functionalities, once you have submitted the questions, you are shown, you are given the exposure to the answer, and the marks are also shown by evaluating the with the predefined answers, right? So it's kind of hiding the data which you don't want the user to show, right? This is the one functionality of the abstraction. The second can be I'm taking the example of this car class itself. As we know, this car object is very complex class. There could be many different functionalities and all, but once the user is given a function of like accelerator, once he accelerate the car start moving. He don't need to care about the engine, the burning of fuels and all. He just press the accelerator and car start moving. So that's the power of abstraction. Like user is only exposed to the accelerator function. He don't need to, or he don't care about what's going inside the car, what mechanism is running the car. That's the kind of abstraction. So it's less physical but more logical kind of thing. Like you can't program any abstraction, but it's a logical thing. You need to have a in practice in your class objects and all, right? And third thing we're gonna go on, the third pillar is the inheritance pillar. So basically inheritance is about inheriting some functionalities, some attributes, some properties of the one class in the another class. So here the class which is inheriting the properties is called the child class, and from which class it is inheriting, that class is called a parent class, right? So we're going to take a simple example here. I'm defining a class vehicle which have color and max speed initially, right? And this dunder string method just return the this string whenever we print the vehicle object, right? And here we are setting the getter and setter method for the max speed, as we have defined it as a private access modifier. Now I'm gonna define a class to be car, which gonna have all the properties of this vehicle class, right? So it is inheriting the vehicle class. This car class is a child class, and it is inheriting its parents class. It is inheriting properties of its parent class, that is vehicle class, right? So let's do it. So for defining the car class, we need to give all the data members like color, max speed, and more than that, I'll be defining gears and is convertible, right? Now I will not again declaring these max speed and color. I will just do super dunder in it, and here I'll be passing color and max speed, right? So what is happening here is like we have passed color and max speed, and they are becoming a data members of car class also, as because we have inherited that car class from the vehicle class, right? And for the rest of the data members, we'll explicitly define them. Self dot gears is equals to gears. Self dot is convertible is convertible, right? So I think we have defined the constructor for the car class. Now we'll define the dunder string method. I'll show you how we're going to use this method also. So for the car class, I will be saying return. What I'm going to return is this is car class, right? And I'm also defining the print method self, and here I'm going to print first I'll be calling the super method super print, right? And second I'll be printing the gears and is convertible. For that it will be I will just copy this part. So gears are and is convertible gears, right? So I think our car class is completed. Let's make an object of the car class. Let it name C. C is capital. Okay, what we are missing here? We are missing the constructor. We need to pass all these things in the constructor, right? So that we have to give for sure. Read it is, and max speed let it give be 60, right? Gears to be 5 and is convertible to be true, right? And self dot is convertible true, right? Let it give it true. Now just print the C. As you can see, by printing the C, I'm getting this is car class because dunder string is returning that only, right? And what if I just call the print method, that is C dot print? Then you can see the color is red, which is got inherited from which that this print method got inherited from the vehicle, and these two statements are these two statements. So super is the reference to the parent class here, right? So I hope you are got clarity about inheritance. Now the fourth pillar, that is polymorphism, we're going to look about that. So polymorphism means poly means many and morphism means form. So if a method in a class can be represented in a many form, then that particular method uh, can be said as a polymorphism, can be said that it's showing the properties of polymorphism. So there are two things in polymorphism. One is overriding, and another one is overloading. So first, overloading is a kind of is a functionality of a method in which it exhibit different properties if different kind of parameters are passed to it. Suppose if I say there is a function sum, right? And if the kind of arguments passed to it is string comma string, right? Then it exhibit different properties. But if a same function in the same class have the argument x as to be integer, then it performs different kind of functionality, right? So this is called overloading. depends on the kind of attributes, kind of arguments passed to it. It possesses different kind of functionalities. Whether if strings are passed in the form of argument in the sum function, then it will perform some other functionality. If integers are passed into the sum function, then it will perform some other functionality. Now, second functionality of polymorphism is overriding. So basically what overriding states is when a parent class is deriving a child class, and both the parent and child class have a function with same name and same number of parameters, then the function in the parent class is overridden by the function of the child class, given the object to be of child class, right? So here we have a class to be a person, right? And it have a function called run function, and we have two derived classes that are adult class and child class. And in the adult class we have a function naming same as the person class function, right? The run function here, which is same as the run function here, but the functionalities of both these functions are different. Here is something else is written and here something else is written, right? So let's define a object of adult class. That would be like this, and for the child class that would be like this, right? Now if I do a dot run, then it would be giving me adult is running super fast, because here this run function overridden the parent class function. But if I do b dot run, here you can see that functions we called are same, and both these classes are deriving from the parent class only. But here the at the runtime the compiler decided which functions to call, right? So all this particular overriding is runtime polymorphism kind of thing. And here the child is running slowly, and for a it was adult is running super fast. So the functionality of the function changed according to the object. So this is the power of the polymorphism. And I hope you got clarity about four pillars of object-oriented programming. First, we learned about encapsulation, then we went through abstraction, inheritance, now polymorphism. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you learned from this from this particular video. Thank you so much.